Hey, my name's Victoria Tipper. I'm an international psychic medium and intuitive coach. What does that mean? That means I have a connection to spirit, to source, the divine, whatever you want to call it, but I call it spirit. When we leave the earth plane and we go into the spiritual realm. So I have a connection to spirit, as I said, and I am able to sense them, see them, hear them, feel them, and all the other amazing ways that you can connect to spirit. Now, I wanted to talk today about our encounters with other people. So this is not people in the spiritual realm, but this is people on the earth plane. Now, we have lots of times where we have encounters with people and it just feels like, why on earth did that happen? Why did that person come into my life? What was the impact of that person? Now, quite often we don't think that. Quite often we think, oh my God, that was really weird, or this person's ghosted us, or this person has done this feels really weird, I feel really awkward, I feel like I've been left out of the loop, I feel like I've been hurt or betrayed. These are some of the negative things we feel when we are no longer in either a relationship or in a friendship with somebody, where all of a sudden things have gone from being really happy and really rosy to very sour. They've either ghosted you and disappeared, or you have maybe you maybe are no longer friends, and you're like trying to process what is going on. It is so important that we process what is going on for us, because when we start to hide everything in a massive box, sweep it under the carpet, we quite often put things that are broken like that into a box in our mind and just stick it in the back somewhere so that it doesn't come forward for us to worry about, to think about, and we start to move on with our life and pretend it's not there. Of course, it's like putting a sofa underneath a rug. Of course you're going to notice it. Of course it is there. It's like the elephant in the room. You have to deal with it. And sometimes this doesn't come up at the time that it happens. It will come up at some other time later in the future, where this is being triggered by something that is coming up for you at that time. Now, when we start to think about relationships and friendships that have no longer in our lives, the things that are no longer that connection, that love, that support, we no longer have that connection with that person, it can be really upsetting. It can really start to have a bit of a knock-on effect with what's going on in our lives at that time, because it can make us feel really vulnerable. It can make us start to question ourselves. We start to question things like, why did this happen? Like, what was wrong with me? What was wrong with them? Why did I even meet them? And you start to question things, but then you think, oh, I don't really know. I don't want to open that can of worms. I'm going to stick it all in this box and I'm just going to hide it in my mind somewhere. Now, this is you stick it under the carpet and allowing it not to be seen. Now, when we start to have those interactions, when you start to realize that every interaction that you ever have is for a reason, you start to see things very differently. Because sometimes we have the question, and I know I used to have this question of, why was I friends with this person? Like, why were they in my life for this tiny part of my life, and then they're no longer here? Like, that's really upsetting. And you have to go through that mourning process, the process where you are trying to work out why you're no longer friends and how that impacts you. So you have to go through a mourning process where you are mourning the loss of this friendship, mourning the loss of this relationship, that you are no longer together. You are no longer going to be doing the things that you used to do together. But when you start to question and say, why has this happened? Like, what is this teaching me? Why has this person been in my life? You start to see things very differently, knowing instantly that everybody comes into your life for a reason, and the reason is for something bigger than we even know. Even when you work out what that reason is, we sometimes don't even see the magnitude, the scale of what that could be. Now, this is really powerful when we start to look at why someone is coming to our lives. So when you have that moment of, oh my goodness, we're no longer friends, or oh my goodness, this relationship has ended and my life no longer feels the same as it did before, you need to ask yourself, what did you get out of that relationship? What is the learnings that you are finding that are coming up from you being in that relationship? Quite often from friendships and relationships, we learn something. We experience something we probably wouldn't have experienced at any other time had we not had that encounter with that person. Sometimes we have encounters with people in shops and it's for a reason. We have significant encounters with people outside a shop and it's for a reason. At the time, it may not seem like anything. It may seem totally invalid, it may seem totally benign, it may seem that you've just had an interaction with somebody and said, hi, how's it going? Or nice day, or good morning. And it doesn't feel like anything particularly big or particularly relevant. But sometimes those encounters are the ones that mean the most. It might be that that day that person needed to hear somebody say hi, hello, or how are you? Or maybe it's the fact that that person is going to have an impact in your life later down the line. So those are the little encounters, and it's really important to notice when you're having these encounters with people. I absolutely love this now, because now I've noticed that you have these encounters and everybody comes into your life for an actual reason. Every encounter is for an actual reason. I start to enjoy what happens and the process of it happening so much more. I start to see things and I start to think, oh, this is really exciting. I wonder where this friendship's going to go. I wonder where this interaction's going to go. And I wonder what's going to happen with this interaction in a couple of days' time, or a couple of months' time, or a couple of years' time. How this interaction's going to be, what that's going to feel like, what it's going to bring up for me. Because this is really, really important and really powerful for us to know and understand that everything in our life happens for an actual reason. The divine timing of things happening. These relationships are not just there for you to grow and learn from what happened. It's to understand and appreciate they were there for a period of time to help you through something, or you to help them through something, so you learned something in particular. And when you see it from that point of view, that knowing that everybody is in your life for a particular reason, everything just seems to feel a lot different. It seems to feel a lot more empowering, and these things are just going to be so gorgeous for you. So I really encourage you to start looking at your friendships, start to look at your old relationships, start to look at the way they broke down. And it's not about putting blame on other people. It's not about taking the blame. It's about working out how you feel about the relationship, but also what you learn in that relationship. What would you not have had within your life if you hadn't have had that encounter? What would you have had or done differently if you hadn't have had that encounter? Maybe you wouldn't have had a specific job. Maybe you wouldn't have lived in a specific place. So all these other opportunities that come because you made that first initial hello or whatever it was in the beginning, it's just super powerful. So I really urge you to look at seeing every opportunity in life as an opportunity to grow and understand. Every interaction with somebody is about you showing that you are just understanding that you are here for something greater. The interactions are here for something much greater as well. So I'd love you to start to look at your interactions. Feel free to comment below, feel free to like, and make sure you subscribe to this gorgeous channel so you can get some more of these amazing mindset tips, and also so you can see the weekly card pulls. Take care.